static on the dial, coffee in a paper cup, sun just hitting that county sign, old boots on the truck. You're humming on the passenger side, hair up in my shirt, map folded in the glove box, heart's already turned. This is back road radio, you and me singing out of tune, laughing at the words we don't know, just dancing in the afternoon. If this little two-lane never ends, I'm alright driving slow, long as every song that's playing is our back road radio.
Okay, let's unpack this. If you're anything like us, you've probably searched for the secret to a happy life. And you just get immediately overwhelmed. I mean, the amount of contradictory advice out there is staggering.
It is.
Do you focus on your career? Do you retreat from the world? Embrace minimalism. So today, we're going to try and cut through the noise.
Yeah.
We're diving into a huge collection of sources spanning, 2,000 years, blending classical wisdom with, modern science to find the fundamentals.
That's right. Our mission today is pretty surgical. We are trying to extract the core actionable principles on happiness.
Okay.
And critically, we need to understand this fundamental tension that really defines the whole search.
Which is?
The ancient path, which focuses almost entirely on internal virtue, on self-mastery, and then you have the modern path, which so often centers on, external pursuits.
Success, wealth, pleasure.
Exactly. All of it.
And the sources we've got are just incredible. We have the heavyweights, Plato, Aristotle, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and they're sitting right next to modern research from people like Arthur C. Brooks, psychological studies, articles from The Atlantic on tech and relationships.
So the big question we're really trying to answer for you is this. What did the great minds teach us about what a good life actually is? And maybe more importantly, how does that teaching clash with our modern metrics of success?
Yeah, that's the rub.
The ones focused almost entirely on what you achieve on the outside.
So let's start at the beginning with the Greeks.
No.
Because their whole definition of happiness is, it's completely foreign to how most of us think about it today.
It really is.
For them, happiness was emphatically not about passive pleasure or, accumulating stuff.
Right. And Aristotle, especially in his Nicomachean Ethics, he draws this foundational distinction. He defines happiness, or eudaimonia, which is maybe better translated as flourishing.
Flourishing.
He defines it as activity, or energizing, that's consistent with our special nature, which is reason.
Wait, hold on. Activity. We think of happiness as a feeling, something that just happens to you, a moment of joy or just relaxing after a long day.
Exactly. And Aristotle says, nope, that's not it. It's not some fleeting state like euphoria. It is something you do consistently. It's something that requires, the rigorous development of moral virtue and practical wisdom. It's like a lifetime achievement you forge through action.
Like learning an instrument or a craft.
Precisely, not something you just stumble into. And if you connect that to Plato's work, specifically in the Philebus, he really contrasts this virtue-based good with mere pleasure.
Okay.
He says that the good is of the nature of the finite, but general pleasures are indefinite.
Finite and indefinite. Can you, translate that for us? Is Plato saying that chasing infinite pleasure is basically chasing a ghost?
Essentially, yes. General sensual pleasures are indefinite. They always require more to sustain, they fade instantly, and they just leave you wanting more.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle of desire and lack. But he does admit there are some unmixed pleasures. Things derived from beauty, form, color, sound, and crucially, from the acquisition of knowledge.
So those are complete in themselves.
Yes, they don't have that painful craving attached to them.
And this is where the modern world just gets us every time. This is the bridge. We mistake the index of success for the good life itself. The economist Joseph Schumpeter once observed that entrepreneurs love earning fortunes, but specifically as an index of success and as a symptom of victory.
And that applies to all of us, not just billionaires. We're all just checking boxes.
Right.
We measure our lives by these external things, job titles, salary, social media likes, and it gives us this temporary feeling of self-worth that we confuse with true, lasting eudaimonia.
You hit the goal, feel good for a day, and then immediately set the next higher goal.
And you're back on the hamster wheel.
That exact cycle is what the Stoics wanted to completely destroy. So if we move forward to Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, they just doubled down on the internal state. They gave us this goal of euthymia.
Euthymia, it's often translated as calm steadiness or peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
It's this goal of internal freedom that you get through what Seneca called contempt of fortune. The idea being that the external world is chaotic, it's cruel, it's arbitrary, but your inner reaction, your judgment of it, that's totally free.
But is that really realistic? I mean, demanding contempt of fortune today with everything going on, doesn't that risk becoming a kind of spiritual bypassing? Just suppressing your natural emotions?
That's a really important challenge. And the Stoics weren't really advocating for suppression so much as reappraisal.
Reappraisal.
Yeah, they saw that emotions like rage are so disruptive precisely because you're handing over control to some external trigger. Seneca literally called anger a short madness. His descriptions of it are so vivid.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah.
He talks about the physical signs, how the eyes blaze, the teeth are set, the breath is labored. He compares an angry person to a falling rock, which breaks itself to pieces upon the very thing which it crushes.
It consumes you. It doesn't matter what it does to the other person, it destroys you first.
Right.
And this whole need for internal control, it dictates their entire approach to justice. Reason has to punish calmly, always looking to the future, not backward in anger.
So it's about deterrence, not revenge.
Exactly. Seneca quotes Plato on this, saying, "No wise man punishes anyone because he has sinned, but that he may sin no more. If you feel rage, you are simply unfit to act."
And this all points to character, right?
Yeah.
You can't get that internal peace without humility. I'm thinking of that powerful remark, I think it's attributed to St. Augustine, about life's direction. He said something like, the first part is humility, the second humility, the third humility.
It gets right to the point. It's about the necessity of self-knowledge. Humility lets you see your own flaws, and maybe more importantly, it lets you reframe suffering.
How so?
Well, if you're humble, misfortune stops being some cosmic injustice against you. It becomes what Marcus Aurelius and Seneca called virtue's opportunity.
So we shouldn't fear setbacks, we should welcome them. That is a very hard pill to swallow when you're in a real crisis.
It is. But Seneca uses this powerful military analogy. He says a general doesn't send his weakest soldiers on the most dangerous missions.
He sends it best.
He sends his choicest troops to attack the enemy in a midnight ambuscade. The point is, those whom God tests and loves are given the hardest struggles to strengthen them. The struggle is proof of your strength, not a punishment for failure.
That ancient wisdom feels so relevant right now because our modern world seems perfectly designed to disrupt that very internal peace the Stoics prized. Let's pivot there. Let's start with work and ambition.
Okay, workaholism. It has this tricky, two-sided relationship with mental health. Studies show this strong link between compulsive work and, anxiety and depression.
And we usually assume the workaholic lifestyle causes the burnout.
Right, that's the common assumption. But some psychologists are now arguing for what they call reverse causation.
So the opposite.
Exactly. That people might actually use workaholic behavior as a coping mechanism, a way to reduce uncomfortable feelings of anxiety and depression. The relentless activity becomes this unhealthy refuge from internal turmoil.
Wait, so the work isn't the cause of the illness, it's the symptom. That flips the script entirely.
It does.
But if it's a symptom, how does knowing that help you break the cycle? You can't just stop working if the underlying anxiety is still there.
It means the solution isn't just about work-life balance. The real solution is to go back to the Stoic goal. You have to address the internal disturbance that's driving the compulsive behavior in the first place.
Get rid of the anxiety that the work is masking, and the need for the 80-hour work week just dissolves.
In theory, yes.
And speaking of compulsive behaviors, our digital devices. This connects directly to that search for an instant escape. The psychiatrist, Anna Lemke, she called the smartphone the equivalent of the hypodermic needle for a wired generation.
That's a stark metaphor, but it feels accurate. It just reinforces this idea that we're constantly reaching for this instant, high-intensity digital fix to regulate our mood.
It's Plato's indefinite pleasures all over again.
It is. And the only way out is through mindful, conscious use. You have to actively forge a happier relationship with your devices instead of just being ruled by their constant dopamine drips.
And all of this, the work, the digital noise, it's so often driven by one thing: the hunt for external validation.
Seneca nailed this. He observed, "We have other men's vices before our eyes and our own behind our backs."
So true.
We're so quick to judge everyone else's flaws while being totally blind to our own, which connects perfectly to that Tao Te Ching wisdom. Care about others' approval and you will be their prisoner.
The second you rely on the outside world for your self-worth, your peace is gone.
You've surrendered your euthymia, you've handed it over to the court of public opinion.
But we can't be islands. The sources are also really clear that relationships are a huge part of well-being. Even for these self-reliant Stoics, you can't be happy alone.
Absolutely not. The need for connection is just fundamental. I mean, look at the data from the workplace.
Okay.
Employees who have a best friend at work are almost twice as likely to enjoy their workday. And something like 70% of people surveyed said friendship is the single most important element for a happy work life.
Wow, 70%.
And paradoxically, modern research shows that isolation and loneliness are a special kind of unhappiness for people at the very top.
For leaders and CEOs.
Yeah, they can be successful, independent, rich, but that isolation just eats away at their well-being. Success and power do not override the fundamental human need for deep, trusting connection.
And what about conflict? Especially in families, where you can't just walk away. The modern advice seems to be about radical acceptance and lowering your expectations.
Right. To avoid a total schism in, non-abusive situations, the advice is to set low expectations. Aging parents, for example, are much more likely to accept a lifestyle choice they disagree with than to have their core values challenged.
Because that feels like a personal rejection to them.
It does. So you should aim for coexistence, not agreement. You don't have to agree on everything to still share a meal together.
And finally, we should touch on environment. The sources do confirm that moving to a place you genuinely love can be a huge boost to happiness.
It can be a massive positive.
Yeah.
But there's a big warning label attached, especially today in our hypermobile world.
Which is?
If you move too often, you risk creating what the sources call disposable friendships in a mobile world.
Ah.
The place might be beautiful, the scenery perfect, but if you're sacrificing deep connections for mobility, you're choosing the finite pleasure of a place over the deep, enduring activity of real friendship.
So, after all of this, after distilling 2,000 years of wisdom and modern data, what does it all mean?
I think the through line is remarkably consistent. Happiness is an activity. It's rooted in internal control and meaningful connection, not just in external achievement or some passive pleasure.
You have to cultivate the internal soil first so the good life can grow from the inside out.
Exactly. And it all comes back to this ultimate act of agency. If you feel like your life is just being dictated by things outside of your control, you have to remember Plato's myth of
The story of the souls choosing their next lives.
Yes. And the prophet declares to the souls, your genius will not be allotted to you, but you will choose your genius. Virtue is free, and as a man honors or dishonors her, he will have more or less of her. The responsibility is with the chooser. God is justified.
The responsibility is with the chooser. The knowledge is here. The path is clear. The choice for a good life is placed right in your lap, not in the hands of fortune. So the only question left is, how do you apply that adamantine faith in truth and right to choose the better life every single day?
You're tucking your hair behind your ear again. Laugh at my bad joke. Look right through my skin. You pass me the mug. Our fingers touch just once. I trace the chipped rim. Think about us. So here it is, my quiet confession. I've been in love since that first September. You in that sweater, sun on your lips. I tried to hide it, I'm done with that script. So here it is, my soft shaking truth. I'm holding